All right, folks, we'll be joined by Ronald Kessler in a minute, but first, my Newsmax TV colleague Miranda Khan joins us on the Democratic contingency plan should Hillary drop out.
Thanks, Steve. Hillary Clinton's recent health scare is prompting some Democrats to consider the possibility of a Plan B, according to CNN.
The DNC does have rules in terms of how to deal with a situation if they did need to select a new nominee, but it looks like the DNC, at least their official position is that they don't feel they need to do that.
This comes after Clinton stumbled and nearly passed out during the 9/11 memorial in New York on Sunday. Her campaign later announced that she was suffering from pneumonia, but that was 2 days after her doctor diagnosed her. A Clinton spokesperson says heat and dehydration also contributed to her issues. Clinton's health troubles and her controversial comments about Donald Trump's supporters are taking their toll on her odds of winning the presidential election. According to CNN's political prediction market, on Friday, Clinton had a 72% chance of winning versus Trump's 28%. But by Monday afternoon, take a look, her chances had fallen 14 points, down to 58%, while Trump's rose to 42%. Hillary Clinton is taking a break from campaigning, which could impact those numbers even more. But her campaign says she'll be back on the trail by the end of the week. Back to you, Steve.
All right, and we're joined right now by Ronald Kessler, New York Times best-selling author, former reporter for the Washington Post, and author of The First Family Detail: Secret Service Agents Reveal the Hidden Lives of the Presidents. Ron, welcome back, sir.
Hey, great to be with you.
All right, let me ask you about the incident on Sunday at the 9/11 memorial here in New York when Hillary fell ill, and how protocol was breached on at least 2 occasions that I am aware of. One, when she was leaning against that pillar and waiting for the car to arrive, which was also, I guess, a breach of protocol. Usually a candidate, a person being protected, doesn't wait for a car to arrive, but she did. And then the Secret Service left her side to go open the door. That was number one, but that was the minor infraction, if you will, because I'm reading today how protocol was also that in a situation like that, they have to take her to the nearest, or if not the nearest, the hospital of her choice. And they didn't. They took her to her daughter's house. So how is all that possible?
None of that is possible because none of it is true. There's no such protocol involving hospitals. The Secret Service does like to take people to hospitals if there's a health issue, but where that person goes is totally up to that person. The protectee decides, and if she wants to go to her apartment, then that's up to her. It has nothing to do with the Secret Service. And the other part is that on the spur of the moment, she decided she wanted to leave, so they didn't have time to get the car. There was traffic. That's not a breach of protocol. That's just, a very minor delay, and it didn't expose her any more than if she had been standing at the 9/11 memorial. So really, all of that is a lot of garbage. What is also a conspiracy theory is that the FBI and Jim Comey took a dive for Hillary for some reason, pressure from Obama, as if Comey would care anything about Obama at this point. And it's just the opposite. The GOP should be thanking its stars that Comey decided to take the unprecedented step of making public all of this damaging material, showing just what a liar she is and a dissembler. There's been so much misinformation about it. Jim Kallstrom, a former FBI agent who was very respected in the FBI, has been on TV saying they should have put her under oath. It should have been recorded. They should have given her a polygraph test. He knows very well that the FBI never records interviews unless someone is in custody after being arrested. He knows that the FBI never puts anyone under oath because lying to the FBI is a federal crime, and that's a much more direct way of attacking perjury. And he knows that the FBI has no authority to require a polygraph test. The Wall Street Journal had an editorial beginning with the FBI almost always starts off with an interview in the beginning. That's not true at all. It's usually at the end, especially in a very complex investigation like this, where you need the cooperation of a suspect. You need to kowtow to her demands. Otherwise, she won't do the interview. In a very simple violent crime case, they might do an interview in the beginning, but that was untrue. And then the editorial went on to nitpick various details of the summary of the interview with Hillary, as if this was a perfect transcript. You know, it was a 58-page summary of a 1-year investigation, a 3.5-hour interview. They couldn't possibly include all the questions that were or were not asked. And they said, well, they didn't really push her on her intent. Well, what is she going to do? Admit that she knowingly violated criminal law? The broader question is, well, why wasn't she indicted? And the answer is that the law in question, even though it doesn't require criminal intent, has never been used against a suspect unless there was some evidence of criminal intent, such as lying to the FBI. I interviewed John Martin, who was in charge of prosecuting these cases in the Justice Department for 25 years, and he said he had never used that law by itself. He never would. He said Jim Comey did the right thing because she never would have been convicted.
But Ronald, I have had two former attorneys general of the United States on my show right afterward telling me they absolutely would have prosecuted her. They absolutely would have charged her based on the evidence that was laid out by Comey at that first press conference. I also had career prosecutors who are not there anymore, including Andy McCarthy and others, say they absolutely would have prosecuted her. And there have been several who are all over the country who have said the same thing. So and they also said that it's not the business of the FBI director to say no, whatever he said, now I forget, legitimate or rightful or whatever prosecutor would ever bring that case. That's his editorial judgment. Why was he throwing that in when it's not true? Because like I said, I had two attorneys generals of the United States who said they would. Why did he say that? Yeah,
well, you know, with any legal matter, there are always different opinions. I know these people are very respected. I respect them. But on the question of Jim Comey making a decision, if he had left it to Loretta Lynch, who had, you know, met with Bill Clinton and never disclosed it in that airplane, you can imagine the outcry over that. So I think, you know, he is a non-political person. He's shown himself to be independent. And the question in the end for any prosecutor is, are you going to get a jury of 12 people, some of whom may be big Hillary supporters, may admire her, to unanimously decide that she engaged in criminal conduct when she claims she didn't know anything?
But isn't that for the judicial system to take its course? Not for the director of the FBI, who in the minds of almost everybody I talked to who was watching that press conference was saying to themselves, yeah, he's good at this is it. Here's the evidence. He's got all the evidence. And then he shocked everybody by saying no charges. Shouldn't he have presented that evidence? Lay it at the Justice Department. If they're corrupt, let them suffer the consequences. Why did he determine there was nothing there? Why did he play grand jury, Justice Department, and judge?
Well, he is a former prosecutor himself. He did consult with prosecutors within the FBI and within Justice, you know, I know from sources they unanimously said that it was not a winnable case, and that is the question. You know, as a journalist,
not as an FBI director though, as a prosecutor, you decide if it's a winnable case. He went above and beyond. I don't think it's the FBI director's decision to say you can't win this case. Based on the evidence he laid out there, I think plenty of jurors would have said, oh my God, reckless, you know, at the very least.
Yeah, but let's get back to the fact that he revealed all this, because if Hillary had been indicted, there would not have been a trial for at least a year. Anyway. And all this damaging material is being used by Donald in advertisements.
Ronald, got to go. Great talking to you.